Want to lose your audience completely? Bludgeon them with detail, speak in a boring monotone, and do your best to engage no one in the crowd. Today, let's focus on what we should be doing instead. Welcome back to Year 6 of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, which we release every Monday. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie award-winning franchise owner, master trainer, president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. Zaegyo is the translation of Japan Sales Mastery. Anatamo Present no Tachijin is the translation of Japan Presentations Mastery. My latest books, Stop Wasting Money on Training, and the Japanese translation is Training de Okane o Mudni Sunu wa Yamimashou, and Japan Leadership Mastery, which we will translate soon. We're bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center in Akasaka, in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? We are here to win in business in Japan. Let's all be at the forefront, at the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. This is episode number 314. Technical salespeople need good presentation skills in Japan. So let's get going. Knowledge of the specifications, functionality, inner workings, and all these things are fine and dandy, but not enough anymore. Increasingly, technically specialized people are being asked to deal with people other than their normal counterparts. Once upon a time, the engineers spoke with other engineers on the buyer side, and that was about it. A nerdy love fest on the specs, so to speak. Today, there are broader spectrum buying teams. These civilians are often the key decision makers and often not technical in the traditional sense. This means the technical person has to be able to communicate and present to them in a way which they can understand. Communication skills have always been low on the totem pole for technical people. At high school, they hated English and thrived on mathematics, physics, chemistry, etc. At university, the key focus and preference was on technical subjects. In fact, after the Second World War, these technically oriented people were creating problems in the workforce to such an extent that universities had to create a new program for them. This was the basis for the origination of the Masters in Business Administration. The aim was to teach technical folks the non-technical sides of running a company. I was reminded of the big gap in fundamental presentation skills recently at a presentation I attended. It was a big crowd, and the speaker had a star-studded resume. He had a PhD in his technical field. He was a corporate officer in his very, very large global firm. He was a big wheel in that world, and someone often called upon to give technical presentations representing the firm. When he started his presentation proper, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that someone in his position, with his experience in that role, with that amount of responsibility for the brand, would be making such a basic, fundamental mistake. The first slide went up. It was densely packed with text. I thought it was the typical compliance required disclaimer statement that usually goes up first. No. This was his first slide of the actual presentation. To make it really exciting, he had made the text in 10-point sized font, so it was almost impossible to read. To add insult to injury, the bottom quarter of the page was blank, unused white space. There was no concept of balance on the slide, and it was ugly. He then proceeded to basically read the slide to us. The next slide was even worse. Same 10-point font, but this time the bottom half of the slide was tantalizingly white space. After that ordeal by tiny text, we got onto a series of line graphs. This was a relief, except that a lot of the graph text descriptors were impossible to read too. I was sitting there thinking, wow, in the 21st century, how could this be possible? A high school student would do a better job than this gentleman of presenting the information on screen. The snapper is that he is in a role where he has to be giving a lot of these types of presentations. He's probably technically trained and often graces the boardrooms of major companies who are clients of his firm, giving this and similar presentations. He's been doing this a long time. He is one of the most well-recognized public faces of the company after the president and chairman, because his role is to promote the technical expertise of the company to grow the stock price. After the initial slide deck shock, I started zooming in on how he was delivering the presentation. There were a lot of numbers involved, so it was a rather dense talk. Pointedly, there were no stories to bring the ramifications of the numbers to life. These were just dry, dull data points that were not thought to need any elaboration. The audience, however, were a mixed industry bunch, so there were varying levels of technical expertise in the room. Pulling out experiences with similar numbers in the past would have been great pointers to what we might expect in the future. Dry numbers can come to life when wrapped up in an interesting example. Also, we are much better at remembering stories than concentrations of data points. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to become a fully competent and confident presenter, then do the High Impact Presentations course. We are all being judged when we speak, be it in the internal team meeting or in a public environment. Be it the big bosses, clients, or an industry audience, everyone is evaluating us. Don't blow it. Get the best training on the planet. Do the High Impact Presentations course now in either Japanese or English. Speaking in public means our personal and professional brands are on show. Let's make it a total success. Japan Presentations Mastery is the Bible for presenting in Japan. This is the most comprehensive collection of experience and insight on presenting that you will ever need. Don't work it out by trial and error. Buy Japan Presentations Mastery and learn how to be confident, clear, and persuasive. Buy Japan Presentations Mastery now. Welcome back. As a public speaker, he did look towards his audience, but somehow managed not to look at any of the people in his audience. You've seen this one before too, I'm sure. He moved his face from left and right and back and forward and around and around, sort of rapidly scanning the room, but not actually making any eye contact with anyone in particular. This precluded his ability to make a stronger connection and engage with the people in the room. In the time he had allotted, he could have connected with each one of us individually and directly if he had tried. We know that around 6 seconds of eye contact works well. It's not too intrusive, yet allows us to really engage with the individual one at a time. His voice was soft and even throughout. It hung perilously close to a monotone. This habit is deadly for a presenter because it robs us of some key tools to add luster, shine, and strength to our argument. When we give each word an equal emphasis in a sentence, then we miss the chance to highlight particular key words for our audience. In that last sentence, I hit the keyword chance higher than the other words, so give it strength and prominence over the other words. I could also have made chance much softer than the words around it, almost like a conspiratorial whisper to make it stand out. Both are voice modulation variations which are at our disposal, and we should be making good use of them. A monotone delivery will kill the audience and put everyone to sleep. He could have also added to the variety by speeding sentences up for effect, or the opposite, slowing them down. Both allow us to grab the attention of the audience. People today are deep in the age of disruption from a technological point of view, but they are also deep in the age of distraction, thanks to that very same technology. For presenters, the challenge has never been greater in the history of our species, and we must rise to the occasion. Boring presenters immediately lose audiences to competition from mobile phones. These are surreptitiously being held under the table as people hit the internet and mentally flee the room, the speaker, and their message. What is the advantage of bringing an expert with tremendous reserve powers of technical expertise if no one is listening? Who are you actually talking to? Yourself? This is what happens when you have lost your audience. Mastery of the slide deck presentation, professional protocols are an absolute basic requirement. I don't even know why I have to even mention this. Engaging the audience and telling memory-captivating stories is another basic skill. Stories enlarge the impact of the numbers and stay with us long after the data and the date of the talk has been forgotten. Making eye contact, a personalized delivery is so powerful. When we combine voice emphasis by either adding or subtracting strength and speed, this becomes the mark of the true professional presenter. Technical people can no longer hide from reality. They can't find refuge in their clubby expertise area. They are required to convey their knowledge to others who are not part of their shared technical heaven. Get the skills, and most importantly, rehearse before you give your presentations. The difference is infinite. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and so please subscribe on YouTube. Share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Hit the little bell icon to receive update notifications. Our website details are on screen now, www.dale-carnegie.cojp. It's packed with value, so certainly check it out. We try to offer as much value as possible, so you might also enjoy our other shows. In fact, we are releasing content 6 days a week. For podcasts, Mondays for the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, Tuesday for the Presentations Japan series, and every second Tuesday for the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show, Wednesdays for the Sales Japan series, Thursdays for the Leadership Japan series, and every second Thursday for the Business Pro Podcast Show, Fridays for the Japan Business Mastery Show, and Saturdays for Japan's top business interviews. Now you get these wherever you get your podcast. Also, every Monday we release the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Every second Thursday we release the Business Pro Television Show, and every Friday the Japan Business Mastery Show. Saturdays, every Saturday, we're releasing Japan's top business interviews. These are all on YouTube. We appreciate your support, and please let others know about it so they can benefit too. We want to make a contribution to helping people build their careers and businesses, and so please join with us in that endeavor. In episode number 315, we were talking about don't fear failure, so yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you. We've only got one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.